The AA renaissance is here. No longer are the times where a game had either a $300 million budget or a budget of whatever it costs to eat cup noodles for 2 meals a day over the course of a game's development. I don't really think we can nail down exactly how long that kind of game takes to make, so I don't think we can nail down exactly the ramen budget. But it's no longer like that. There's a glorious middle class of gaming re-emerging, games with ambition without the corporate brain rot, budgets but not the GDP of a small country-sized budgets. Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on Gameranx, 20 AA games we cannot wait to play. At number 20 is Castlevania Belmont's Curse. We couldn't be more excited for this. We're finally getting a new Castlevania game in 2026, but what's particularly exciting about this game is it's coming from a developer with a deep love and respect for the franchise, Evil Empire, the developers behind Dead Cells. That game was a roguelike, though, and this is not. This is a traditional Metroidvania. It's just got some of that punchier Dead Cells style combat and the pretty distinct art style. It's pretty different from other games in the series, but gives the game a unique flair of its own. It's got the style of an indie with a budget and production value of something bigger. It's a new Castlevania game we've been dreaming of for years. You know, there's so many ways it could have been disappointing, and who knows, I guess it could still be underwhelming, but my hopes are pretty high for this. This is a proven developer who's nailed the formula before, and now they're taking on a beloved property. I'll play the Castlevania DLC on Dead Cells. I don't see how you could walk away from that with anything less than confidence in this. Hopefully you don't walk away from this video without enabling the notification bell. We have people who are commenting that they don't see our videos, despite the fact that we upload them every single day. And something you can do to fix that is enabling notifications. So please do that. It's doing a big solid for us, and we hope it helps you see something you want to see. Thanks for enabling notifications. Not going to belabor the point. Let's get back to the video. At number 19 is Ontos. Frictional Games' spiritual follow-up to their horror classic Soma has a strange imagery and mysterious plot to it, but we've come to expect that from these developers, and it looks like they're doing something a little different this time. The focus seems to be more on existential dread and psychological horror rather than jump scares. Seems like the game's more about experiments, talking to people and exploring this moon base, that kind of thing, than it is about evading monsters and hiding in closets, but who knows, maybe they're just not showing their cards. Either way, Soma was brilliant, and another game even tangentially related from these developers is really exciting to see. Moving on to number 18, it's Mortal Shell 2. The first of these games was an interesting proof of concept more than a full game. It's one of those games that was just begging for a sequel that could take the experimental ideas introduced and really expand them into a significant, more better game. Hopefully that's Mortal Shell 2. The trailer alone looks like a pretty big expansion on what the first game did, though. It looks a lot bigger and bolder in just about every way. The game has the same class switching mechanic as the first, where you discover and play as various shells and their own weapons and stats, which you switch between whenever you want. And the world looks even weirder, more bleak than the original, and that's what I wanted for a sequel. Could be just as middling as the first game, that is possible, but the first game performed pretty well, monetarily speaking, and I think they just want to make a better game. Like, it had a lot of good ideas, but it just never really fully achieved them, so I think it's going to be a big step forward. And number 17 is Bradley the Badger, the surprise hit of the Game Awards 2025, and for good reason. It looks super fun and extremely charming in a way few games, particularly nowadays, manage to do. It looks like Gex, but actually funny, or Conker's Fur Day without being extremely crass. But most of all, it looks like a really fun platforming game with a fun gimmick that you can manipulate and reprogram the world with. What makes me confident is the developer's pedigree. The game's coming from a lot of the people that worked on the Mario and Rabbids games, which were games that, they were far better than they had any right to be. The trailer alone shows their skill at handling something like this. This game looks like it'd easily come off as obnoxious or generic, but it's got a lot of personality. The humor in the trailer is actually enjoyable. Doesn't seem like it's trying too hard, and it's just charming. Looks like it's going to be a lot of fun whenever it comes out. And number 16 is Outward 2. Like a lot of recent RPG sequels, Outward 2 seems to be taking the basic framework of the original game, which combine RPG and survival stuff with some crushing, brutal difficulty, and they work together pretty well to make a pretty rough RPG, but a unique and interesting one. One of the most unique and interesting ones of the last decade, even. The sequel, like I said, looks like it's taking this sort of, let's do that, but like way better. Like, in terms of visuals and overall game polish, it looks like a big step forward. Not like Baldur's Gate 3 level step forward, but like looks a lot better than the first Outward in a lot of key ways. Otherwise, it does look like it is more Outward, which like I said, think is an extremely interesting game, except for this looks like it's making it a little more approachable. I think that could work wonders for the series. And number 15 is the Gothic 1 remake. The original Gothic is still an all-time great RPG, but man, is it difficult to go back to these days. Just something simple like swinging a sword is awkward in this game, and it's got tank controls, which, yeah, in an RPG, yeah. I mean, it's an early and important RPG, but only the most dedicated Eurojank sickos are going to want to stomach this thing in its old state nowadays. So having a proper remake is actually pretty exciting. The original demo from a few years ago wasn't all that hot, but it seems like the game's changed a lot since then. Looks like a much more faithful recreation of the original, which, I mean, you throw in some modern gameplay concessions and graphics that, they're not mind-blowing graphics, but obviously a big improvement over the original. And it's coming out June 5th. I think a lot of potential. Crossing my fingers. And number 14 is Dreadmoor, basically a AA version of Dredge. Dredge is kind of a spooky fishing game, a little mix of role-playing and cosmic horror. No, I'm not massively keen on rip-off games. Not necessarily because I care about copying, but if one game does it well, what's the point of making another game that's exactly the same? This doesn't look like it's that, though. It's certainly, yes, the idea of the original game, but it does look a lot more different. Not just a copy-paste job. Dare I say it, that's how genres are born. The spooky fishing genre. Not necessarily a full genre quite yet, but let's say Dreadmoor pulls it off. Could be. I wouldn't mind either. One thing I definitely do like about it's not all menu-based. You can actually move around your ship and get up and walk around in the interiors. You get a gun, you can fight off monsters. You repair your ship. I like it. I like what's going on here. It looks like more Dredge with more stuff. A lot of potential here. Game is releasing sometime Q4. And number 13 is Solasta 2. Finally, an RPG for Baldur's Gate obsessives to play after their fourth playthrough of that game. I mean, this one's not even far off. It's hitting early access March 12th, and they're really stepping things up in terms of polish and production values with this game. It's obviously not operating on the level that Larian is, but they're going bigger in an attempt to reel in the Baldur's Gate crowd. Character models are a lot more detailed than Solasta 1. The environments are much more dense and detailed. Looks a little more story-driven. Looks like a more interesting game, honestly. Solasta was great, too, so that's in no way bemoaning the original. What makes this different is it's based on the SRD 5.2 rule set, much more authentic recreation of a D&D game compared to you-know-what. They're going for a more tactical, technical, turn-based combat system, gives players more flexibility for what they want to do. Hard to describe exactly how it's different. Just play the first Solasta, though. It was kind of a dark horse RPG hit, flew under the radar a bit, but it does seem like the sequel is poised to bring more eyeballs in on this series. And number 12 is Aphelion. Don't nod is it's pure AA. They made Vampire and Vanishers, and both games didn't have quite the polish or scope of some of the big hitters of the industry, but they managed to swing far above their weight class. Both great things. I am a sucker for Vampire with a Y. They do good work. I am always looking forward to their next game, and that is purely why Aphelion is on this list. It's a story-driven action game focusing on two astronauts trying to survive after a crash landing on a hostile alien world. Looks like a lot of set pieces in the trailer, but apparently there's an entire stealth aspect to the game as well. Gameplay is split between exploration, climbing around on stuff, avoiding alien monster type situations. Sounds simple, but I have faith in these guys. They know how to make simple work. As far as I'm concerned, they have not missed yet with their AA projects. And number 11 is Resonance, A Plague Tale Legacy. The first Plague Tale was one of the vanguards of the AA revival we are currently experiencing. And while a lot of AAs aren't necessarily automatically successful or even good, Asobo Studio remains some of the best. Plague Tale stuff nails it. Now, what I like is some of these recent AA games, the developers are kind of stepping out of their comfort zone and inserting more traditional game mechanics. Like with Resonance, we're getting actual melee combat. The story is moving away from a rat-infested France to the sunny Mediterranean in a prequel story that looks pretty different. Might be a little less miserable, not counting on it. They may find a way to make it much darker despite the sun-baked setting, I don't know. I'm here for it though. Asobo Studios is 2 for 2 with these games, and I expect this one to be good when it launches late this year. And number 10 is Hello Sunshine. This one looks quite interesting. It's coming from Red Thread Games, which certain online obsessives are perpetually upset about. The games, I'm not gonna pretend are not hit or miss though. I liked Dreamfall. That's kind of it. I didn't really like their other ones. I don't know. I don't even know how many other ones there are. Dreamfall is pretty cool though. This one looks legitimately interesting though. It's a narrative survival game where you explore a desert world using a giant robot to protect yourself from the sun. During the day, you can work with the bot to move forward. During the night, you gotta stay warm and salvage what you can. It's a good concept with some real visual flair. Could be another dud like a lot of their other games, but there's some creativity on display just in the visuals alone. I'm interested. The trailer has me sold on it. And number 9 is Rivage, a new puzzle game from Raw Fury, the same people that published Blueprints. Doesn't look like it's got the mind-bending potential of that game, but as a narrative puzzle game, it appears pretty polished. I don't know, I think it's smart that they're not at least automatically trying to sell us on the idea that this is another, it's going to subvert your expectations game. It's a time loop game. Sounds like it could be awful for a puzzle game because of the potential repetition, but thankfully this game remembers and automatically solves puzzles for you in later loops. The actual puzzles seem to be all over the place, more Myst style than relying on some central gimmick. Don't mind that. Myst has its place. All connected by an immersive world. Looks like it's going to be satisfying to explore. Not exactly sure what this game is, but it has aspects of it that I think look cool. And number 8 is Tankrat, sort of remake/reimagining of Tankhead. Looks like it takes the basic mechanics of that game and does something a lot more ambitious. It's a weird game because it's essentially already playable. You can play Tankhead now, and mechanically it's a really cool game, but the actual core progression itself is a bit disappointing. This new version of the game seems to be addressing that with giant bosses and more distinct levels. The original version of the game felt like half a game, so if this manages to fill out what was missing, could be an all-time great. The concept is amazing. Piloting a tank, salvaging parts from enemies. It's a brilliant, focused idea. It just needed a little bit more. Tankrat looks like it's filling in everything the original desperately needed. Looking forward to it. And number 7 is My Time at Evershine. We're firmly in AA territory with the latest My Time At game, one of the biggest graphical upgrades we've seen with the series for quite a while, though. Otherwise, still same mix of Stardew Valley with a little Zelda combat and dungeon crawling mixed in. Instead of managing a farm, you're a builder. You construct machines, tools, even large-scale municipal projects like roads and dams. Great concept for a game like this where you're most exploring a single town, because the many additions you can make give the games a satisfying sense of progression. The first 2 were great. This one looks even better. No firm release date yet, but it's definitely one to look forward to. And number 6 is Valor Mortis. The next game from the developers of the Ghost Runner series looks like a big departure. They're trading cyberpunk free running for Napoleonic Dark Soulsing, and that looks interesting. A first-person Souls-like is already novel, but this game seems to mix in first-person combat with ranged attacks that do something that take, advantage of the first-person perspective. The way you use guns hits weak points and shoots projectiles out of the sky. It just looks fun and satisfying. Like their other games, it seems like it's going to be a snappy and well-made project. Not sure how big it'll be, but I'm excited to give it a shot when it releases sometime in 2026. And number 5 is Welcome to Brightville, the very weird-looking self-published game. It's clearly ambitious. Any game that calls itself an immersive sim automatically is, but it's still hard to tell exactly what this is going to be. The core concept is easy enough to grasp, certainly. It's BioShock, but in a robot city, but also it's magic. That's the part that complicates things. It's a stranger game than it could have been. Instead of using guns, you use magic. That's weird enough, but the game heavily incorporates music into the experience. Characters sing in it. It's part musical. Sounds very eclectic and weird. Presentation speaks for itself, though. I have no idea how it'll turn out, but this is one to watch out for. And number 4 is Showa American Story. Speaking of weird, this has got to be the most Suda 51 game that Suda himself didn't make. Looks janky and stupid, kind of ridiculous, but there's a style to it that is just flat out intriguing. Set in America dominated by Japan, you're on a quest for revenge, and there's motorcycle segments and zombies, and looks like a grab bag of B-movie madness. Could be terrible, could be incredible, or incredibly terrible. I don't know. Either way, I want to play it when apparently it comes out sometime this year. And number 3 is The Lift, a supernatural handyman simulator. We're seeing more and more of these hybrid games that combine job simulator type gameplay with more traditional storytelling. In this game's case, they're taking the handyman gameplay from something like a house flipper game and mixing it up with traditional puzzle solving and a weird setting that incorporates aspects of like SCP and Soviet sci-fi from something like Stalker. All that really matters is it looks really good. Like, it looks really well made. It's got an impressive amount of presentation, some creative gameplay, mechanics, middle ground between a work game, a puzzle game, and a horror game, I think. That's my perception anyhow. The Lift could be one of the more interesting games to watch out for this year though, so watch out for it. And number 2 is Edge of Memories. Edge of Eternity was a valiant attempt at making a big JRPG with a meager budget. It wasn't great, but they swung for the fences, and you gotta respect that. With games like that, the hope is that they learn from their failures and take the skills they developed on the first game to make something great for their second, and that's what it seems like they're doing. I obviously can't say for certain how it's gonna turn out, but the trailer gives me some hope. The combat looks great. Production values are a lot more impressive than the first game. Just looks all around better, and it might not be like the best JRPG of all time, but definitely a big step up that hopefully will be everything the original game could have been when it actually comes out, which is happening sometime later this year. And finally, at number 1 is Darksiders 4. The king of AA finally returns to continue where the original left off back in 2010. The game ended on an all-time cliffhanger, and everyone assumed it would never get resolved, and, well, it is. Very little is known about this game, but at least from the little we've been given, it seems like a return to form for the series, bringing back the Legend of Zelda-inspired mix of combat, traversal, and puzzle solving from the first 2. Apparently, you'll be able to play as any of the 4 horsemen, and each has their own unique abilities and weapons. The first 2 Darksiders games are some of the best Zelda-like games we ever got. There's a huge amount of expectation for a 4th, and it's unlikely they'll be able to deliver on the hype of 16 years of expectation, but as long as they're able to make a game that's at least as good as the first 2, I will be satisfied. What about you, though? Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. So click subscribe. Don't forget to enable the notifications. And as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. Become a member of the 1% Club by clicking the join button below, and you get exclusive access to The Falcon Show every Saturday. Thanks a whole lot. We'll see you next time right here on Gameranx.